What's going on, people? It's Mr. back again with the podcast. I hope everyone's fitting well. And yes, Forest are back, away days, and this time against a tough Newcastle team. If you are rewatching this on the highlights, get your score predictions in the comment section as well. I'll be going as usual. I'm excited as well for this game because, like I said, as you know, we beat them last season at their ground. And if you want to watch the vlog after this podcast, please go and watch it because, like I said, it was a great Boxing Day, a late Christmas present it was. So it is what it is. We've got the man himself, Stephen. How are you, Steve?
Right, Ben. How's it going? Not too bad. Been a long week, but finally got to the weekend.
It's been a long week after last week's poor showing.
Yeah, it just seems like an age today since we played.
Yeah, too well long. But before we get a special guest in, like I said, Fulham, it was shocking, wasn't it? Absolutely shocking.
Yeah. We played worse at Bournemouth, though, I think.
Bournemouth was rubbish. Yeah, Bournemouth was rubbish.
I think rubbish. Yeah, I think what we've seen here, Ben, is especially with Bournemouth and Fulham, which, funny enough, is a bit of a coincidence. I don't know, but the two teams we come up with seem to be our kryptonite in this league.
Yeah.
We can't see. I know we beat Fulham last year, but yeah, it's just we didn't play that bad in the second half, but I think Fulham were just better side, maybe, Ben. Just the better side. Sometimes, like with Bournemouth, you just got to hold your hands up and say, do you know what? They were the better side. They looked a bit more physical and a bit more athletic than we did.
And now we've got, like I said, we've got a much easier game on Sunday against Newcastle. This is why I think it's the right time to introduce to the man himself. Everyone will know Adam. Like I said, he's like myself. He travels to every single Newcastle game, and it's very. I want to hear stories because, as you know, Forest, we want European football, and he's been to every single game. So I think Adam's story. So people in chat, please show some love as well to the man himself, Adam.
Hello, everyone. It's good to see you all. It's good to have a chat with you all, and it's good to see Nottingham Forest still in the top four because I remember, of course, being down at the City Ground last time I had a chance to see you in person. It was almost kind of that feeling when the game ended. It was almost a bit of deflation in the Forest point of view. I remember speaking to fans after the game, and kind of at the time, it was almost like, okay, we had a good season here, but Newcastle's just beat us now, and what, to be honest, was quite a convincing game from us. So for you guys, it was almost like a bit of deflation from them. But after that Arsenal away match, you then got it back together, had a massive December period, and you came out of a really tough month, still in the top four. And now we are talking towards the end of February, and Forest are still in the top four. And it's getting to that case now where entering the last third of the season, and it's that reality you're trying to achieve now. And I think Sunday's massive. I think Sunday's massive for both teams. If Forest beat Newcastle, I think you're 9 points clear of us. I mean, that's serious. And I think especially for Newcastle as well, with our ambitions and aspirations of trying to achieve something like Champions League football this season, it's an absolute must-win for us. And I feel like for Forest as well, as he's both touched on before with the Fulham and Bournemouth away losses. If you were to lose to Newcastle, that's then 3 away losses in a row, and Newcastle's still in the European push, so that would put a lot of pressure on you guys. So for you, you just need to get at least a draw at the weekend, but you'll definitely be trying to get a win, considering the fact that not only you got that away form to talk about, we've lost our last 2 home games, so we've lost to Bournemouth and lost to Fulham, ironically, so it's the exact same two teams. Yeah, ironically, the same 2 teams, yeah.
That's start of the day, that is.
Yeah, so that's you guys.
That's going to be a quiz question in about 5 years' time, that is. That's mad.
Yeah, so those 2 teams are both, absolute kryptonite for us this season. So it's one of them ones, but ironically, both of our teams are now getting together on Sunday. So massive match for the pair of us, and may the best team win. I feel like it's the correct quote.
But like I said, Adam's got a channel, and like I said, I want to touch on, like I said, we're talking about Champions League football, but as you know, like people will know Adam, like I say, he goes to every single game. And before we do talk about the games, Adam, just tell everyone, like I've been to pre-season games like Olympiacos and blah blah. What's it like going to being in the Champions League, going to PSG, Dortmund, and all the teams that you travel to? You go to America pre-season. Like as a football fan and a content creator, what's it like Because I want to know as a content creator what's it like going to all these clubs and what's it like? Tell everyone.
Well, I'll talk about the Champions League first because, of course, that's appropriate for you guys at the minute. Well, last season was surreal. I feel like as a football fan, that's the sort of thing you live for. Not just going away and watching your team play abroad, but just playing in real competitive games. There's always a difference between, of course, pre-season and Champions League going abroad, but especially them Champions League matches. I mean, going to the San Siro, amazing. Going to Dortmund, amazing. Going to PSG, amazing. And when we were in it last time as well, it was also when we still had the group stage, so we had a horrific group stage whereas now, for example, with the 8 matches,
you got robbed. No, you got robbed against
PSG. We did. Thanks for reminding me of that one. But now, I mean, next season, if you guys were in it, for example, with the 8 teams now, you're guaranteed some bad opponents. So for you, it's very competitive and it's very realistic as well, where you should be almost expecting to try and get yourselves into a potential knockout stage, but it's honestly surreal. As for pre-season, I mentioned before, we've done some quite interesting ones. We did Japan last summer. I mean, Japan was amazing being in Asia.
I want to do this. See how jealous I am, Adam. You go to Japan and you didn't go Australia, did you? Was he ill? He wasn't well, was he?
I was Australia. I was ill for, so it was the day of the flight. I had to go in the hospital, so I had basically had a medical emergency, like a few hours before the flight. So it was just that was the absolute worst. But I mean, I think we lost 8-0 to the Australian All-Stars teams about the under-21s out. So, I didn't exactly miss too much, but I was a bit gutted not to be in Australia.
Like I said, Champions League football, like I said, I mentioned, like, when you got robbed against PSV, like, how did you feel about that game? Because, like I said, I've always vouched when you got teams like yourself, Aston Villa, Bournemouth as well, and Fulham. I want us teams to break that cartel big club situation. Like, do you feel like I want Newcastle to get Champions League, but do you think now because you're 5th, do you think you can? I don't want you to win on Saturday, Sunday at all. So I don't. Please, interviewers, I want Forest to win. From after, like, what do you prefer? Champions League football or Europa Conference or whatever. What do you prefer? But I know you say Champions League, but what do you prefer?
Ooh, that's an interesting comment, that one, because of course when you look at that mindset, I'm assuming you mean either compete in the Champions League or potentially go down and try and win it.
Because to the question, like, you got more chance of winning the Europa Conference, and everyone's asked me, and that's why I asked you, because you've witnessed the Champions League. What would you prefer? Because you got more chance of winning the Europa Conference, like Manu, I think own it. So what would you prefer?
Yeah, it's a tricky question because I'll give a good example. Of course, West Ham won the Conference League a couple of years ago, and that was their first trophy, and God knows how long as well. So, in that respect, obviously you got a more likely chance of winning something like the Conference League. But for me, I just like being in the Champions League. I just like us being in the top level of competition. I know Newcastle didn't get out of the group stage, but it's just kind of that feeling of being able to compete there and really being able to kind of stand up the best teams in world football and just stand toe to toe. I don't know what it is. It's just something about it. I really enjoyed being there. At the same time, though, if I was, let's say, Newcastle was to be in the Conference League next season, I wouldn't be complaining either. So it's a tricky one because I think the Conference League, for example, if you were in the latter stages, you're talking the quarter-final onwards to a final. I think at that stage, you'll really start to kind of dig into the competition. But for example, you look at Chelsea's group stage this season, you're playing God knows what Eastern European team and what Eastern European countries. So you're not going to the most exotic places. If you go to places you've never been to before, but probably not.
Someone like Wales, we can go to Wales, Adam.
Yeah, I think they had Shamrock Rovers. Chelsea didn't. I think they had Shamrock Rovers. So
Shamrock Rovers.
Yeah. It's mental, those sort of teams, but then again, you kind of go to some countries where I'm going to be honest, I probably wouldn't want to go to some of the countries that are in the Conference League. But again, it's all part of the experience. And I know, for example, as a viewer, they would absolutely love to see me in a weird mental country. But again, it's just part of the draw, isn't it? So I wouldn't mind that, I guess.
What about you, Steve? What do you prefer? People in the chat as well. What do you prefer? Champions League, Europa? What would you prefer, Steve?
Well, from a fan perspective, obviously Champions League, and the club would probably see it as well as Champions League for revenue, innit, and for exposure. But what would worry me with Champions League, and it's funny we talk about Newcastle. What would worry me, and we see it with Villa and Newcastle, is he affecting Avenue League form? Because there's no coincidence that Newcastle were in it. Was it last season or the season before? It was last season, wasn't it?
Last season, yeah.
Yeah, last season, yeah.
Newcastle, has it caught up with them? Villa is caught up with them as well this season, even though they're doing quite well in the Champions League. So, again, Ben, if we were to have Champions League, our squad depth will have to get better. We'll have to invest in the team heavily, within PSR. But then I wouldn't begrudge going in the Europa either. And like we've touched on, we'd be playing some random teams, but we can get a good shout at it. And as long as it doesn't take away from the league, because the league is the bread and butter, I'd rather stay in the Premier League than, Thursday, Sunday. But we're not going to turn European football down here. But I got one question for Adam.
Go then.
And I asked a fellow Newcastle fan at work the same question. Would you take the League Cup final now and win it, or Champions League football?
Well, I would take the League Cup final now. I think for us, you've got to remember, we haven't actually won a domestic trophy in 70 years. Like 1955 was actually the last time we've won a trophy here in the UK, which is just mental when you put it that way. Again, we were in the Champions League last season. For me, we need to get the trophy down. I really feel like Newcastle need to win a trophy. It's not just about winning the trophy. I think it's a bit of a mentality as well. I feel like probably winning your first trophy is kind of like the hardest trophy that makes any sense. I think once you win one, you'll be really kind of up to do it again. And 2 years ago, I was down at Wembley, of course, for our cup final against Manchester United, and we were just woeful on the day. We kind of made it more of an occasion out of it, rather than kind of just locking in and just giving it a real go. Whereas this time against Liverpool, I've seen their Champions League draw today, for example. They've got PSG over 2 legs, and PSG, to be fair, have been really good this season despite losing Mbappe. So again, that's a nasty draw for them. They got them just before the playoffs in the final. I think Newcastle really need the self-belief, and for me, in my personal opinion, we need the League Cup this season. I think we really need to win something.
Now I'm going to make this point later. I just want to touch on the game. Obviously, we are going to talk about the game Sunday, but bear that in mind. I'm going to point about that later, which is going to
say it now.
Oh no! So this is why I think we might be playing Newcastle at the best time, because I think, and picking up your point about the trophy and the fans wanting that trophy, playing Sunday we might catch them cold because they might have one eye on that final, because there's going to be players, and some professional players do this. They may just pull out of a challenge. They want to play in that final, don't they? They don't want to pull a hamstring. They don't want to get injured. So that this might play into our hands, Ben, is that we go there Sunday and some of these players, Newcastle players, be going, do you know what? I don't want to get injured. I don't want to get injured for the final. Some players might want to play into form as well, play into the final, the team for the final. So it might go in our favour. That might be a bit of a psychological thing for me. Without the fact, is the final next weekend? I think it is, isn't it?
No, it's a few more weeks. It's about 3 weeks or so. So it's not as close as you think.
Oh, right, okay, but still, it's still on the horizon. That's what I'm saying. It's still lingering there. So Newcastle may have one eye on that final, being with the trophies and the fans expecting, this could be our time.
Because Newcastle winning, you got a tough run, haven't you, Adam? Because you got us. Yeah. And is it Liverpool on Wednesday, aren't you?
Yeah, that's the thing. We're playing Liverpool on Wednesday. We're playing Liverpool before we play them in the final, which is a weird game because it's almost the sense that we might kind of go out against Liverpool in the league and purposely mislead them with our tactics and play players that wouldn't normally play for us. And that's probably the argument against your case there, Steve, because, for example, last week, you're completely right. We played against City away, lost 4-0, and we were just shocking. We just turned up. I think we did have one eye in the cup final, didn't really play with 100%. And I think the attitude was honestly awful from us. But the issue with this game being on Sunday is that our next game is Liverpool away. So Newcastle know if we're going to get a result in one of these two games, you've got to prioritise the Forest game because Newcastle's head-to-head record against you guys, for example, has been really good since he's came back up. I know you're going to mention it shortly, but the one time Forest have been able to get a result against Newcastle, of course, was last season at St James's Park. So it's not just the head-to-head record. I feel like Newcastle might want to try and get the revenge in that game as well. So it's a case where on Sunday, it's a nervy one for both teams, but Newcastle, especially the way we played last week, they've got to get their act together. There's no way I think any of the fans would be happy if Newcastle was to go in Sunday and not give 100%. So if we were to have one eye in that cup final again on Sunday, I'll be absolutely livid after the game.
Alan, quick question. And do you think you'll beat Liverpool? Do you think you'll beat Liverpool in the final?
Well, I've got to have that self-belief, yes.
Do you know there's only one team that beat Liverpool this season?
Yeah, I know who it is, you guys, yes.
I don't want to rub it in. I just want to rub it in.
We're technically Plymouth, one of them now. But
I'm Plymouth. I'm Plymouth.
And PSV have beaten them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
But I'm talking
about PSV or playing PSV when in the Champions League.
Yeah, no, but in the league.
In the league. That's what it counts, man.
That's all it counts. That's all it counts. Make sure everyone hits the like button, subscribe if you know, and people make like I said, watch your score predictions, please. I want to touch on, like I said, and Steve mentioned about PSR, and I want Newcastle to push on and, like I said, break that cartel. As a fan, is it frustrated that you've not brought in more players? Because like I said, you've got on paper, you've still got a great side, but as a fan, is it frustrated that you've not brought in more like world-class players?
Well, yeah, PSR has been frustrating. I think, especially when you kind of look individually in each of Newcastle's windows. I mean, we haven't actually signed the first team player in our last 2 years. Our legit best signing that we brought in was in the summer, where we brought Lloyd Kelly on a free, who we then sold to Juventus for £20 million. He barely played for Newcastle anyway, so we basically signed the player and then just sold him for pure profit. So there's kind of a case where, I mean, even look at us, for example, last season. We're signing Vlak Medimos from you guys. He's never played for Newcastle. He's never ever played for us.
Keep him.
We don't. Eddie Howe clearly doesn't want him, and obviously you guys are then get Eddie Anderson the result. So it's almost like you're making transfers, we're making transfers that neither team at the time really what they're making. No, Anderson's done phenomenally well for you guys this season, but again,
Chris Wood.
Yeah, yes, Chris Wood as well, yes. But I think with the Anderson sale, it wasn't a sale Newcastle wanted to make, so it was almost like we're buying players we don't want to buy, and then we're selling players we don't want to sell. It's all because of this PSR and this FFP, this rubbish, really. And it's I think the good part of Newcastle is that we have set ourselves up well for the next transfer window. So assuming we have a good season, get the summer window, we're looking good. But again, I mean, what Eddie Howe and the players have been able to do, considering the fact we haven't improved the squad in 2 years, is just phenomenal, because Newcastle's still really doing well. Yeah, even though we haven't actually spent anything really in the transfer windows, which is impressive when you look at it.
We're going to talk about Sunday's game. People in the chat, like I said, if any questions they want to ask Adam, please do. See, how are you feeling about Sunday's game? Because, like I said, we lost to Fulham, but as Adam touched on it, we did beat him last Boxing Day. But how are you feeling about Sunday?
It's weird, Ben, because I'd probably I was dreading more going into that Bournemouth Fulham game, because the examples we've touched on is that they seem to be kryptonite. So it's going to be. I think it's going to be an interesting game Sunday. I'm quite excited for it. I think it's going to be. I'm not setting it up to be a 0-0 now, but I think it's going to be an exciting game. Both teams are well balanced. They're quite matched in certain areas. I think it's one area we could exploit, and it has happened a few times. Alanga, if he can get running at Dan Burn, turn him a few times, because that is, for me, even though Dan Burn had a good game at the City Ground, and he was lucky to stay on the pitch.
He did have a good game. He had a good game.
He was but not so great. He was lucky to stay on the pitch. He should have had a second yellow in that game. But that's old news now. But the game Sunday, I think it's going to be an interesting one. Newcastle, as Adam said, they got stuffed last week at City. I've only seen the highlights. Apparently, Alan Shearer was ripping into them on Match of the Day as well, saying how bad they were. And then we lost to Fulham. So it's going to be one of them things. I'm going to go down as a draw. I'd be quite happy to take a draw up there. Come away with a point. Because you've touched upon Newcastle. Obviously, next couple of games. We've got Arsenal, we've got City, we've got Ipswich away. We're fighting for their lives. They can beat anyone on their day, which they've proven, or get results. So, Sunday's going to be. If Chris Wood turns up, again, could be another hat-trick on the cards. And Adam's saying about revenge. Obviously, we got to get revenge for the game back in November, which I went to, and I thought Newcastle.
It was your fault. It was your fault.
But to be fair, that game was a game of two halves. I thought we were very good in the first half, but our second half, to be fair, I was very impressed with Newcastle. The subs they brought on, the quality.
Newcastle has been the best team at the City Ground, if I'm honest.
Yeah, they were very impressive. And so people have gone on. I've seen pundits talk about an expert saying about the balance of the midfield, and that midfield in that game was Bruno, Joelinton. I think Tonali came on, and bringing that quality playing on, that shows the depth as well they got in them positions. Now, I got a question for Adam. Is Joelinton injured, or was he suspended last week?
He's injured, so he's back. I think he's back next week, actually, but he's 100% out for the game on Sunday, if that was your concern.
All right, so that is a bit of a physicality missing there in the middle and a bit of go forward, because he's really picked up his game, and he's probably one of the most, from a neutral outsider looking in, he's probably one of the most improved players, I would say, since you first signed him to now, because that balance in that midfield, I mean, it's really good. I think like I said, your one weakness is, I think, even though you've got a good defensive record, I think you do lack a bit of pace at the back. That's my only personal opinion. I mean, who's your backline? You got Livramento, Hall, Byrne, and Shaw, is it?
Yeah, Lewis Hall played good at City Ground. I think
he did. Lewis Hall, the two full-backs played very well. Yeah.
But it's not that. I think the midfield, that midfield, I think I spoke to Adam before the game. Willock, the whole, especially Bruno Grimmaz, he bossed the midfield.
What I noticed. Yeah. Go on, Ben.
Sorry, carry on.
No, go on, Ben. You finish your point. I'll say then.
No, first half it was fantastic, but then second half, Newcastle just took the mick, especially the midfield. Do you agree, Adam? I think that midfield just took the mick, and I love Ryan Yates, but Bruno Gomez just took the piss out of him. They really did. What was your thoughts on it, Adam?
Well, it was kind of a weird part in our season, because Newcastle at that point was still a bit on and off at the time.
It was, yeah.
At that stage, we didn't actually know our best midfield three at the time, because Tonali came back from his suspension.
Yeah, he did.
But then Tonali, we played him further forward than he plays now. So he plays as a 6 now for Newcastle, but we kind of played him as the 8. And then Bruno was the 6 instead, but it just didn't work that well. Bruno now being the 8 and Tonali being that 6 means that Bruno could actually get further forward and be more expressive with the ball. And Tonali's that kind of player that's just going to clean up and move the ball around. So going at that Forest game, I think at the time Newcastle, if I remember correctly, I think we had beat Arsenal the week before that, so we did kind of go into the game with a bit of confidence, and that midfield it just worked well, especially in the second half. They got it together, they were able to really get things going. Newcastle had a couple of dodgy games after that, but then had that really good run going through the end of November to the start of January, and Newcastle just got it together, found their midfield three that wanted to play on. At the weekend, obviously without Joelinton, he still is a massive miss. I think people are starting to realise now how important Joelinton is Newcastle's team, because he's almost that. He is that physicality, but he's almost that player that I think teams just hate to play against. He's a right S-house, as you would say. He's someone that loves to kick players. He's dirty. He's not really a player that you play against, and he's a beast. If you've seen the size of him, he's absolutely massive. So I think he's a player that a lot of people would just hate to play against. So not having him, and you've got Lewis Miley who's coming in. To be fair, Lewis Miley's a really good youngster. Well, it's an 18-year-old lad coming in, someone who's not as physical as Joelinton. Nottingham Forest will find it more comfortable to play against him than Joelinton, you would imagine. So yeah, not having him in the weekend is big, but Newcastle's midfield three is a lot better than I think people would give it credit for. I really have a lot of faith in it. I would go as far to say I think it is one of the best midfield threes in the league. I really enjoy the way they play together. That's absolutely phenomenal.
People, please do hit the like button, subscribe if you know. Steve, a question I want to ask you, and people in the comments as well. Would you play Sangari against Newcastle? Because I said, Alan's mentioned they are tough midfield, and like I said, I love Yatesy, but I just don't think he can cope with that Newcastle midfield. So, what's your thoughts?
I think you've got to remember, and this is going back, and this is going back to the City Ground game. The point I was going to make, Ben, is what I noticed is that Isaac, he doesn't just play up top; he drops in as well and takes the ball, and not deep, but on the half turn, on the halfway line, he sits in and he spins off, and he's such a clever player. So throw him in the mix as well. You may have to go down that route of playing maybe Sangari as a protection, and he has to up his game, Ben. Could be the game where we put him in and say, look, you have to show up that midfield, because as we touched on, the midfield are good at Newcastle, and when you got Isaac doing them really smart runs, because what I noticed at the City ground, he's such a clever player. He'll spin off, he'll do little 1-2s, play off, and then he just keeps the ball moving all the time. He never stops. So that's going to be really, we have to get that midfield balance right, because I'm finding, Ben, I don't know about us as Forest fans, obviously Adam won't know as much, but it's almost like if we don't get that midfield right, it's costing us games. And our striker Wood is on fire. Our two wingers do the biz. We know what we get with the defence. It's just that midfield. Where Newcastle have nailed it, we just got to get. Unless Nuno doesn't know his best midfield, I don't think we do. I think it's a big game to throw him in. But if you're going to ask me now, maybe you have to go with Sangare, Dominguez, and Anderson as your three. Because Dominguez will run, and you need energy against Newcastle. You need energy because they play with such intensity. If you're going to go play with Ryan Yates, he will get in the faces of players. But then, like Adam said, you haven't got Joe Linton there. So maybe, it's for me, I'd go with a bit more legs in there to get around. Hustle and bustle. So, yeah. I'd maybe go with Sangare then. It's a tough question.
I don't know. When he came on against Fulham, though, Steve,
it was a tough ask for that, Ben. The team was struggling. I think if we were playing well and then he came on, it might have exposed him as, but we were generally poor anyway. So I think, but then on the flip side, when he was playing against Exeter, he was playing brilliantly, and everyone's like, it's just Exeter. So the guy can't really win.
Yeah, well, no, what I mean? No. Let me disagree with you. I no disrespect to Exeter, they're a lovely club, and when I went to a great stadium, but you can't judge it on Exeter. Adam, right? Let me put it, Adam.
No, you can't, Ben. But you can see my point, though, Ben. Can
you? Stop it! Don't bother. Don't. Right, Adam.
Oh, Sangare, he's dead 2.0 now. He's a Sangare.
Right. Adam, when you judge a player who's come from injury against a League One team.
What do you say? Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Right, if a player a player, everyone assumes Sangare, Mbroe Sangare is he meant to be a good player.
Okay.
And how can you judge a good player against a League One team? I don't know, like Willock. If Willock was injured and he come back and he's fantastic against a League One team, but come back to a Premier League team and play rubbish, you can't. Do you know what I mean?
Well, we kind of had that scenario actually ourselves, because we had Birmingham City a couple of weeks ago, who was, of course, top of League One. Willock scores 2 goals in the game, and to be fair, had a really good match. I think he was man of the match as well. And then our game last week was Man City, where Joe Willock was subbed off at half time because he was absolutely rubbish. He just didn't work in the game. So, yeah, I think we had the exact same scenario, to be honest, ourselves. So, it depends on the player and the situation. Willock, in my opinion, I wouldn't be starting him against Forest on Sunday. I'd like we played last week. So
he always plays good against us, though, Adam. He always does. That's why I always sand him out.
I like Miley. I thought Miley was quite good against City last week. He was probably the only player, to be honest, that even cared about the game last week. So I think he's deserved in the start of the game. But as you can see, comments about Willock, he'll be coming off the bench anyway at some point. So
I hope he doesn't come on. He always plays well, like assist or something. But before we do, Steve, I'm right about Sangare. He played good. He made 2 assists, and then again he come against Fulham. He wasn't good. But
but again, Ben,
with what do you call it? The 50-50 tackles, he bottled one.
Yeah, he weren't great, but then the team weren't great with against Fulham. But I can see your point. Like what I was trying to say about the mentality of it is, if he played against Exeter and he was terrible, then we're just going to pound him even more. But my point being that when he played well against Exeter, we as fans then just turn and say, well, it's just Exeter. So the guy, what I'm saying is, the guy can't really win in this scenario because we're all saying, right, he's not the best, but when he does play well, then we're just saying, well, it's just Exeter, and it doesn't really matter. You get that's what I'm trying to say, Ben.
I know you're talking.
He needs to step up now.
He better step up. He needs to step up. He needs to step up.
But then, what surprised me in that Exeter game is how much time he had on the ball, which I thought Exeter would have they should have watched videos on him. If you put him under a little bit of a pressure, he could lose the ball. But he has so much time on the ball. He was like Perlo and he's spraying the ball around. So, but it's a massive step up now on Sunday. If they do put him in, he just has to step up.
I've not got a Sangai agenda, Steve, before you say that. I've not got a Sangai. I just want him to play well. And like I said, when he come against Fulham, it was the 50-50s that disappointment. But like I said, the whole team were rubbish. So I'm not throwing Sangai under the bus like Steve threw me under the bus.
Except for Matt Sells. Oh, another Newcastle player, Matt Sells.
Oh, Matt Sells as well.
Yeah.
Do you wish to have Matt Sells, Adam? Because I know he was useless for you, like, wasn't it?
Oh, that was back in our championship season. He was terrible. I was like back in 2016. He was just woeful. Played a couple of times. Stitches over.
Would you take him now?
It's an interesting one actually because Newcastle has got a bit of a goalkeeper situation. I still probably say no, because it actually sounds like
he's the best goalkeeper in the Premier League.
You're signing
big claim. That is a big claim.
Are you signing?
He is good. He is good. Yeah.
Clean sheet wise, he is. I think he is. Yeah, he is.
Aren't you signing in the summer Trafford from Burnley?
Trafford, yeah. I was about to say that. I mean, obviously Trafford's a lot younger. He wasn't quite experienced as a guy like Sells. I know obviously last season he struggled a lot with Burnley in the Premier League. He's good in league. He's good in the Championship. They've only conceded 9 goals in 33 games.
He's too cocky. He reminds me of. I saw the link today, and he reminds me of it was not. Is it Joe Hart? Yeah. No, is it Joe Hart? I think it's Joe Hart. It reminds me of Joe Hart, cocky, a little bit. So
Pickford.
Pickford. Who was it? Was it Trafford? One or two, but he reminds me of. Pickford. No. Newcastle can do better. No, they got Vlach. They can have Vlach as well. So yeah.
Oh, I got a question for Adam as well. Just touch on the PSR thing and the transfers. So, a couple of rumours circling. Would you swap Isaac for Nunes?
No, absolutely not. No, that's a million miles better than Darwin Nunes. I mean, I think it's crazy. Nunes is like a Werner-esque player. He's someone's really good in the ball and just runs towards the goal, but he just misses every chance. I mean, I say this now, and he might score a winner against the cup final, so I don't want to jinx myself. But Darwin Nunes, I mean, he is a good player on the ball, but he's just so bad in front of goal. You're a striker, your job is to score, and then you just can't score.
Yeah.
So
he's a player who the fans love, but it seems like the manager's headache because he misses sitters and he misses chances. But the fans love him because he tries. He just runs and runs and runs. And at Forest and Newcastle, we've all had them players who just try and give everything every week. It's just sometimes they haven't got the end product being if the goalkeeper is a fan favourite, but he's not the best, or the striker can't score goals, but he's you know what I mean? It's kind of one of them. It's we have had a few of them, haven't we, Ben?
Just a few.
Yeah.
Don't mention him. Right. We get everyone's score predictions. Let me start with you, Steve. People in the chat as well, get involved. What's your score prediction for Sunday's game? Go on, Steve.
2-2.
2-2. Okay. 2-2.
I think it's after last week's results, because both teams will be hurting. I think something's got to, one team. I don't know, something might give, but I think hopefully we just cancel each other out.
Okay.
And I'd be quite happy for the draw.
Adam, what's yours?
Well, I did a live stream with Bray a couple of days ago, and I'm going to stick to the scoreline that I said there. You guys aren't going to like it, but I'm somewhat confident for the weekend. I did actually go 2-0 Newcastle. I actually reckon we'll keep a clean sheet. I'm hoping I don't jinx that. But
like the first game, was it 2-0? Yeah, he beat us 2-0 when we came back to Premier League as well.
Yeah, I think it would be a repeat of that score. I just feel like your guys at the minute, I think the away form with that last couple of games, I just feel like Newcastle will get the edge this week. I think it has to be a win in our point of view again, as I just mentioned before. Form this season for us has been all over the place. Had a horrendous game at City last week, and if it wasn't that City game last week, I think Forest would be in for a real chance. But it's because of the fact that we lost 4-0 and we were so bad. the team just can't come out and not play well. The team has to come out and play well this weekend, and it's an absolute must-win for us. I can't stress how important of a game it is for us, and I reckon Newcastle this weekend will just get it together. I don't know where I'm getting this confidence from, but I reckon Newcastle will just
too much chest, Adam. Too much
maybe
confidence.
Too much chest. Yeah, obviously.
Too much chest. Right.
We'll be seeing you on Sunday anyway, so
we'll
sure.
see. I will bump into you before the game and after the game. But I'm going for it. I think Chris will again come back, and I think Forest will be free. I think they're going to be goals, but I think these 2 away defeats will kick. With the Bournemouth defeat and the Bournemouth and Fulham defeats, and Newcastle got, like I said, they got the final. The Ferguson won the final and that. So I'm going for it. 3-1 Forest.
Ooh,
Chris will hat trick
again.
Clip this.
I hope that's happening again.
Chris will hat trick.
Elliot Anderson hat trick could be good.
That'd be great, wouldn't it?
That one would hurt even more if Eddie Anderson got one against
the second half. Let me throw Adam under the bus. You know when we brought Chris Wood, was you one of the Newcastle fans laughing at Forest for buying him 15 million? Was you one of them?
Yeah, I couldn't believe the price tag at the time. It might sound mental to say this, how many goals Wood score, but I still don't necessarily mind us selling him, believe it or not. The thing is with Chris Wood, he just didn't work at Newcastle with the way we play.
Yeah.
Obviously, Forest is a completely different team with how they play, and I don't think it's a coincidence Wood barely scored at all for Newcastle. He was amazing at Burnley and he's amazing at Forest now. And it's just a case where Newcastle just didn't suit the style of play that he wants. And he scored a shed load of goals now. I couldn't believe I'm saying this, but he scored more goals than Isak this season in the league, which is just mental when you put it that way. But he's good. He's very good. He deserves to be there, and he's done well for you guys. And he's a big reason why Forest is currently in the top 4. So I can't discredit that.
I'm just going for the comments. Sorry, Steve. Good evening, Mr. Steve.
I got a question for you, Ben.
Sorry, I turned late. I got home, Jim. My pitching is 2-2. This guy, why, Alan? Why do you need to come? Evening, Ben. I'm always sending his regards. Facing a possible losing of 2 teams that play in the black and white in the space of 7 days. All it is, Adam. He supports Fulham. And he beat you lot, didn't it? So, yeah.
Why is it only Forest? Like someone like Adama Traore turns into prime David Beckham. Exactly. The guy can never cross the ball. And last week he just puts one to the back post on the Smith Rowe's head. And you watch him any other week, he can't even cross the ball. Don't get me started on that.
Always Forest. Alan,
always Forest.
It's past your bedtime. Leave me alone, Adam, man.
Alan. Right, Ben.
Yes.
Chris Wood. Right. I mentioned this channel before. Now, with all his stats being thrown around and he's breaking records, scoring the goals, he's signed a 2-year contract. If he continues for the next 2 years in this form, I'll ask you again, will he go down in folklore as a Forest legend?
Yeah. Yes. 100%. Definitely. You've got to be. In this era, definitely.
Yeah. And I said this, I asked this question, I think Des on here a few weeks ago. Now, legend gets thrown around easily these days, right? But you've got to ask that question out. And saying that he has signed another 2 years. This could be just be a freak.
I think he's already a legend now, Chris.
Is he?
Yeah. Because look, think about it. He scored 18 goals. 18 goals.
It's crazy, Ben.
It's crazy.
I don't think we've really wrapped. We haven't wrapped our head up.
No, I'm going to throw Adam on the bus again. When you got people like Adam laughing at us, saying now for buying, it's like, and then yes, but like in last season, he scored 14 goals for us, didn't he? Last season. He scored 14. He scored 14 goals for last season. Then now he's got 18 goals. That's
and he still got. Was it? How many games have got left of the season? We 13, is it?
13, yeah.
If he averages, he could be great. He could have get to 25 goals. He could quite easily score another 7 goals.
Good, right. Question about. Let me ask Adam. Have you, in the last 10 years, have you any players that you think are classed as legends? Because legend, as Steve mentioned, legend gets thrown around way too easy. Like you got Champions League football. Is Eddie Howe a legend? Sending you not to Champions League?
It's still tricky because you need to kind of see what he does for the rest of his tenure at Newcastle now.
Yeah.
Now, even in a short time, though, he's at the time when he came in, of course, from our takeover, we're 19th in the league table. I know, obviously, we've had a massive takeover, and Newcastle did spend a good amount of money, so you would have probably expected Newcastle to stay up, especially after spending that money. But you got to remember, in the space of 3 years, we've been already in 2 cup finals, being in the Champions League, and we've been a team that's been competing at the top end of the Premier League. I would have to say yes. I think Eddie Howe is a Newcastle legend, but then again, I could say this now, and then over the next couple months, maybe he just loses every game, and he might get sacked eventually. It's tough because you just don't know what's going to happen in the future. If he wins something 100%, he is quite literally the manager that's done what no other manager could do in the last 70 years. So 100% if Newcastle wins something. For now, I'm still strong enough to say yes. I think it's probably a 90% yes, and then of course we've got to kind of just see how it's drawn out. But yeah, I think Eddie Howe is a legend. I think Newcastle does have some legendary players already, but again, I just need to see the future, I guess, to answer that question.
That's it. Then this is a question for you, Steve. Stan Collymore scored 22. Is he considered a legend?
And that's Joe Collymore came to my head. Now, Collymore was on that time, slightly just before I got into Forest.
Yeah.
But I remember him playing, obviously.
Frank Clark.
Brilliant. Oh, yeah. 95, 94, 95, that era, I started supporting Forest, right?
Yeah, that's me too. When David Phillips, Sam Forest. Frank Clark took charge, basically.
Frank Clark, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Collymore was only with us, what? How many seasons? Two.
That's the thing.
But you speak to a lot of Forest fans around that time who watch them week in, week out. They love Collymore. I mean, outstanding player.
In that era, it was fantastic.
A legend. Would you class Brian Roy more of a legend than Collymore?
Yeah, because Brian Roy again, he was
there longer.
He was a top scorer as well.
He was top scorer. I know Chris Wood now.
I need to get Brian Roy on my show, man. I'll message him. I'll message Brian to get him on my show.
Again, it's a really good point and a good question because again, legend is thrown about way too easy. Way too easy.
Cooper legend.
Who?
Steve Cooper. Is he a legend?
100%.
Definitely.
Because he brought us back to the Premier League. Like Adam was making a point about Eddie Howe. It's like with Nuno now, right? If Nuno gets us into this Champions League position, right, top 4, and next season we have a good crack at it, and even if he stays with us for 2 or 3 years,
yeah, but let me say something. If he gets to Champions League, if Nuno does get Champions League football, I think he's a legend. Full stop.
He has to be, Ben. Yeah. From the turnaround of 17th to top 4, not gradual in one hit. He's got to be put in that bracket. I think you can put legends
above Cooper.
Yeah. Oh, 100% then above Cooper, yeah, for that short turnaround. You know what I mean? Definitely. It's and for player wise, I mean, Newcastle have got their own legends. You know, Shearer's a legend. You know, Janola's a legend.
What's centre back's name? What's the name?
Philip Albert. Now now I say there's a difference between legend and cult hero. Now there's some cult heroes at clubs. You know, we've had some cult heroes, Ben, over the years.
Yep.
You know, I'd say Chris Cohen is a cult hero. I wouldn't say Chris Cohen's a legend. I would say he's more of a cult hero. Now, I would say Philip Albert, you know, prove me if I'm wrong, Adam, but I think, would you say that Philip Albert is more of a cult hero than a legend?
Well, I do agree with the sense that you can have someone as a hero, not a club legend. For me, obviously, you can see I'm a lot younger. I wasn't alive when Philippe Albert was
yeah.
So I couldn't tell you on a game-by-game basis, but...
I think of someone in more recent time then. Newcastle. Maybe like someone like Almiron then.
Yeah, I'll probably say he's somewhat more of a cult hero than a legend. I definitely don't think he's a legend, but... obviously, Almiron still achieved a lot, and he's had them kind of moments. So yeah, I do agree with that sense. You can have someone that's like a hero at the club, and not somebody who would class as being as like a real club legend. Yeah, I'll probably say he would be a cult hero actually. Yeah.
People in the chat, and like I said, if you were watching, who would you class as a legend? Because like I said, legend gets thrown around.
Ben, please ask the question as well. Put a poll out. Will Chris Wood go down as a legend at Forest?
You know, I think I need to do a video for that, don't I? I think I need to do a video tomorrow. Chris Wood is a legend at Forest because he's a legend. No, he is. I think he is. Yes, I think he is a legend. If I'm honest.
Because the other week,
because the other week, no, he is. He is a legend because
he has to be in the question now, Ben. Because again, if he has another season like this next season and the season after, it'd be very hard for him to keep up to that level. But if he gets another 15 goals next season and another 15 after, he's got to go down in folklore, hasn't he? Yeah. He's got to.
People in the chat, I've done a poll. Is Chris Wood a legend? Yes or no? I don't know. I think he is, but
I think your current
look at his age. He's 34 years old. Is he 34?
Yeah.
34? Will he repeat next season? Time will tell. But I think we'll get a better striker, if I'm honest. But no disrespect to Chris Wood. He's come to Forest, and I think he'll get a hat trick against Newcastle on Sunday. Sorry, Adam, I have to say, Adam, he'll get a hat trick.
That's snug.
People, and wait, Alan, do it. Clip this as well. He'll get a hat trick, and clip this as well. So,
go
to.
Oh, news. Hang on. Score update. It's now 4-0 Brentford. It's 4-0 Brentford now.
Poor Leicester City. What you should have kept Steve Cooper, and now all you Leicester fans crying about doing. So, yeah. To be fair, I'm not gonna lie. I wanted Leicester to win because so you can put Man U in the relegation park. We all know that Man U are not going to get relegated, but it's just funny how the way Man U are doing right now. But right, it's been a great show. Thank you very much, Adam, for taking your time. And as well, Adam, tell everyone how to subscribe and what do you do on your channel. Basically, he's just like me, but he's better than me because he goes to all these games and hopefully I'll go to European football. But Adam, do plug on your channel.
Well, basically, as you just said, I go to every single Newcastle game. Of course, I cover the club as much as I can. Obviously, with the cup final coming up in a few weeks, I've been doing a lot of content towards that as well. I'll give you an example. All our pubs and all our local communities have got like the cup final displays.
I love going to Newcastle, Adam.
So I've basically been going around ranking them all. I think I walked about 20 miles today just pure ranking all these places. It's just mental. But I'm quite busy a lot, but I'm just doing basically.
You're always busy. You always do like every time your video just pops up. You just use random videos about Newcastle, so it's good, man. I love it.
I appreciate it, mate. And obviously, I'll be speaking to Dore, and I'll be speaking to loads of you Forest fans on Sunday. So it'll be great getting you involved with the channel. And obviously, please do come say hello if you're going to the game on Sunday.
We'll get people like Des and Dave and for a few Forest fans. We'll see Adam before the game, and hopefully there's a biggest grin on my face after the game for myself because if Chris, I remember I spoke to you and I spoke to another Newcastle podcast. I don't know who they are now, and we were saying about Chris Wood, and I just can't believe he's got a hat trick there. 3 good goals as well, man. If he does that again, I'm confident. 3-1 Forest. 3-1 Forest. I'm confident.
I will be
I could just say, right, I hope he wins Sunday, but I mean this, I hope you beat Liverpool in that final.
You are going to beat Liverpool in the final. I can't stand Liverpool.
For the love of football, please just beat them.
Beat them. For the football.
I want to see Arnie Slot run on the pitch and moan again and find someone else to cry about.
Yeah, that's and the aim.
Then you can play Cranberries End, blasting through Wembley Stadium.
That'd be great, man. That'd be great. But like I said, people, make sure everyone go subscribe to Adam as well. Thank you, Steve. I think I'm doing a podcast. Steve, free Sunday, so we can celebrate our win.
No, I'm not. I'm in Birmingham on Sunday.
You're absolutely disgraceful. This is the last time.
I'm watching the Newcastle Forest game, and then I'm off to Birmingham to watch a band. So
absolutely disgraceful. Yeah. I know where your loyalty lies and all that, but
sorry, man.
It's fine. Right, people. Like I said, I'll be there on Sunday with Des and Dave and Malcolm as well. So if anyone sees Adam, please go and say hello to me. Like he's a fantastic lad. Watch all his content. But I loved, like I said, when I spoke to you when you came to going, Adam, I just loved all your European tour vlog, man. And that I want that. So all the best after the Newcastle game, and make sure you do beat Liverpool. So
thank you.
And before we go, I'd just like to say, Leicester fans have left the building. There's nobody left in the stand. There's a lot of blue seats.
In rude trust, man. Like, I'm not going to give a little, because you know who you Leicester City fans are. He's absolutely disgraced, man. The way he spoke about Cooper, but I'm not going to give a little rant on it. But people, if you're all rewatching this, if anything that we discussed, please get in the comment section. Like I said, I'll be there. Do my usual YouTubing, after game reaction, my podcast. I'll be live Sunday at 9 o'clock if I make it in time. So I am doing an afternoon podcast. But there's going to be loads of content as well. Like I said, we've got Newcastle, we've got Arsenal, we've got Man City, 3 easy games. But you never know. Champions League football, hopefully for Forest and Newcastle, and break that cartel for. Thank you for everyone watching. I'll see you at St. James Park on Sunday. Peace and love. Up the Forest. Adam, wait 1 minute. Up the Forest, Adam.
No, not happening. Hey,
Nearly got you. Peace and love.